right, everybody, what is going on? Welcome to another impromptu live stream here. I apologize for the short notice, and it looks like we only have one person tuned in here so far, but that's all right. I know some people are probably going to catch this after the fact here. I know it's already 10 o'clock on the East Coast. Maybe you're coming over from Brock Beard's premiere of the Talladega episode of 500 Days, and marathon premiere that was nearly 4 hours, and very well done. Want to give Brock all the credit in the world once again. And I'm finding myself as I want to get started creating some of these longer, more in-depth video projects that I'm, kind of brainstorming at the moment, just how much effort and time and research is going into these videos. And it's very apparent through the work that he continues to do with that series. So I know there's been a lot of questions being asked and long wait and interval between each of these episodes premiering. But I think as you saw tonight, is well worth the wait here. So again, very well done to my editor-in-chief over there, Last Card Info, Brock Beard, on that episode. I just wanted to come on here just to kind of preview what I'm going to be doing here throughout the 2026 season. Of course, we finally got the Clash in on Wednesday night. Hope everybody continues to stay safe here. It's been a crazy weather pattern the last several weeks here in many parts of the country here. I want to say hi to you just popped in the chat here. Kazi, apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name there. Unfortunately, I don't know the first thing about motorsports, but wanted to join and say thank you for the game show videos I've rewatched many times. Bring back Reed. Yes, absolutely. Still waiting for Fox to get on that. It's been over 25 years now. So we need I feel the need for Reed just as much as I did when I was watching the reruns on GSN as a kid. So we'll get into some game show topics as well here. I put Q&A in the title. If you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them, and I will also kind of preview, like I said, some of the projects that I'm doing this year. Again, not just motorsports. I know I want to get back into that and have some videos coming on those subjects as well, but definitely plenty of game show stuff in the works also. So if you're a viewer tuned in for that, by all means, be sure you stick around because I've got some projects I'm working on in that area as well as the racing stuff. So last week was supposed to be the premiere of the new Monday night show that Brandon Crossland and I have planned for this year, Motorsport Mondays. If you watched the Ben Schneider Show podcast episode that I did with Brandon a couple of weeks back, you'll have heard that by now. That's the title that we're going with, Motorsport Mondays. We're still doing a Monday evening motorsports racing show. It's not going to be with the Grid Network anymore. I'm taking it a little bit more independent. It's going to give us a little bit more freedom to branch out into some other areas and other topics as well. We might talk some game shows Monday nights also, but also I want to, like I've been saying, not close any doors, but just open some new ones. We just had the Super Bowl last night. Congratulations, Seattle, on your Seahawks winning their second Super Bowl in recent memory. So kind of avenging Super Bowl 49. I guess that must have felt good. Not so good for us up here, New England. I've got a lot of local fans up here that I've made friends with since I went to college that we're disappointed about that. But we'll get into that a little bit later. In planning for the premiere of our new show, I don't want to give too many details away. I don't want to make anybody worry here or anything. But I had some stuff come up last weekend. Maybe I'll share some further details when things kind of get settled a little bit more here. But long story short, was not in a position to do a show last Monday, so we had to postpone it for that. And then Brandon had some stuff come up this week. He would have had to do the show at 8, but I also didn't want to go head-to-head with Brock's premiere of 500 Days tonight. So at the moment, tentatively, with our luck, I'm already seeing it in the forecast, 50% chance of rain. The 2020s have been absolutely cursed of a Daytona 500 with weather, it seems, but hopefully we get the race in by the end of Sunday night, and we'll launch the show next Monday, hopefully at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 Pacific, figure time zones out from there. We also want to be careful, even though I've left Grid as a full-time contributor, like I said, you may see me stop by from time to time throughout the season. So certainly not rooting against them or anything. We want to do everything we can to continue to support what they're trying to build over there. So hearing murmurs behind the scenes that Tanner and Matthew are continuing to try to plan the show that's going to take the place of the old Encore show, or maybe be a continuation of the Encore show in kind of a new style or version or format. So I want to make sure that we're doing the best we can to avoid any clashes or conflicts with them as well. So, like I said, and again, I don't want to keep people too late here. But it's going to be a much shorter live stream than we did previously in talking about the chase. But want to say hi to Adam here as well. It's NASCAR week on Wheel of Fortune this week. Yes, giving me some material if I ever want to do a part 3 of those crossover videos. I don't know if I've got 10 more that I can think of, but this is certainly that would certainly be one of them. So I didn't catch the episode tonight because I was on my way home from work, and then I jumped right back into the 500 days premiere on Brock's channel. But I will certainly be paying attention to that this week here. So that's the big announcement for tonight. Obviously, I'm going to have Brandon with me in the future here, and I still need to figure out what exactly I want to do in terms of formatting for how we do the show exactly, and how we're live streaming the show as well, because I'm quickly finding out here I did not realize how limited the free version of StreamYard is. You see the StreamYard logo up there in the top right corner. Having the benefit of being a part of the Grid Network for the last several years, and must confess I didn't realize just how much Joe was investing through StreamYard and all the different tools that he had unlocked for us. I'm very grateful that StreamYard has a free version, don't get me wrong, and it does the basics for things like this that I would need it to do. But in terms of doing a weekly show, I would probably have to get a little bit more support on Patreon, which again is why I want to get back into more independent content creation, because I felt bad for my existing patrons who have been supporting me since I launched that a couple of years ago. Haven't had as much to reward them with in terms of content, and that's like I said, the whole point of why I want to try to make this channel a little bit more active going into 2026. So if you want to support my work, it's open there. You have no obligation by any means to do so. Just watching the streams and watching the videos is good enough for me. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that, but the option is there if you want to go the extra mile, so to speak, and do that as well. So yeah, I mean, like I said, planning a much shorter stream tonight because I don't want to be up too late here. I got to get up a little bit early. Was planning for this to go a little bit more than just 8 minutes though here. So hopefully we've got a few more viewers in the chat here at this point. If you want to ask me any questions regarding what the show might look like, or what I have planned in the future, I can go through some quick and brief thoughts here that I was planning for tonight's episode, I suppose. Like I said, the full show won't launch until next week, but I'm very excited. I got to say, like I said during the chase live stream, this is something that I haven't felt in a long time for a new racing season. And like I said, I don't think for one second that I'm not going to continue to bang the drum for full season championship, but I am certainly more excited for the racing season to begin than I have been in a while when it comes to NASCAR. I will say, on the note of the chase being back, while we're kind of going back in time, so to speak, I didn't think I'd say this after the event that we saw in 2020, if you can even call it a race, but I will tell you that I'm starting to get the itch to bring the Clash back to Daytona and hop on that bandwagon. But I would want them to do it right. Like I said, I think the chase is a step in the right direction, but going fully in the right direction would be bringing back a full season championship. If we're going to bring the Clash back to Daytona, run it in the afternoon, make it a 20-lap sprint, poll winners only, nobody else invited. That would be what I would do to bring the Clash back to what it originally was. As much as I appreciate what NASCAR has done with Bowman Gray and the experiment out in the LA Coliseum as well, I've got to tell you, I think that all the momentum in the world right now is with the tradition that the sport was built on, and I think that would be part of it as well, going back to what made the Clash a special event back in the day, and bringing back speed weeks as well. I can't believe it. We're in an era now where practice is so limited. We don't see the cars on track nearly as often as we used to, and you don't get a lap of practice before you send the cars out on Wednesday for qualifications for the biggest race of the year. I mean, it's just again, I kind of took for granted when I was a kid just how much track time we got and how much it built up to the Daytona 500. And obviously the weather in North Carolina throws things so far off for this year as well, even more so. But I think that would be a great way to bring the Clash back to what it used to be. And I don't know. Then I think you could host a all-star race at Bowman Gray. Do some sort of I mean, you've got the format to the point where it doesn't allow for a full field. I mean, obviously you can't put 40 cars on a track the size of Bowman Gray, right? So I think the all-star race has a good format in terms of car count and car size and field size for a track like Bowman Gray. I think that would be a better place to host a race like that rather than the season opener Clash. Wouldn't have to worry about the temperatures being down in the 30s and snow and everything, pushing it further back. And then I guess you could give Dover its points race back. Again, I still cannot believe that that's what my former home track is hosting this year. Not a points race, but the All-Star race. And we'll wait and see. I will refrain complete and total judgment until we see that final product there. But like I said, I don't have very much optimism in terms of how I'm feeling about that event. Other news that we got recently, the Charlotte Oval is back in terms of the fall date. I think some of you probably know my philosophy. I would not be a fan of any track having 2 dates on the schedule. I think the schedule is a little bit too long at 36 races, and I've always said 28 to 32 races at 28 to 32 different tracks. I guess maybe Daytona could be the exception to that just because the summer race does have so much tradition behind it, the Firecracker 400 as well. But aside from that, I don't see the need for any track to have 2 dates. I suppose Charlotte was one that maybe makes sense for the teams logistically. It is right in most of their backyards. But I said the same thing on Twitter, but I'll say here, I am a fan of moving that date back to the Oval because I think the Roval experiment had kind of run its course at this point. I am not a fan of announcing a schedule, finalizing a schedule, and then seemingly without warning, as the calendar flips to that schedule's year, saying, hey, we're actually going to change this date or we're going to change this layout here. And I don't know. I mean, if you're a Shane Van Gisbergen fan, I don't know how you're supposed to feel right now. You probably are not too excited about this move. If you're a fan of a driver that doesn't perform well on the road courses, on the other hand, you're probably excited. If you're not a fan of road course racing in the next gen era, you're probably excited as well. And again, like I said, I have no problem going back to the Oval and saying we have enough natural road courses on the schedule at this point that we don't need the Roval date anymore. But I would have liked to have seen that in 2027, or I would have liked to have seen that decision made months earlier so that could be what the schedule looks like. I'm also not particularly a fan of getting rid of the only road course in the Chase. If we're going to do a 10-race postseason, again, you know me, I would not want to do that at all if it were up to me. But if we're going to do it, I think we should have the largest variety of track type possible in that 10-race stretch. I remember growing up, I think it was 4, even 5 mile and a halves in the original Chase, and Jimmy Johnson had mastered that style of racing and mastered it very well for 5 years and won 5 straight championships there. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't have had we had some other different track types in there or a road course in those final 10 races or a second super speedway or another short track or whatever. But I think that if you're going to do that, you should have as much diversity in the types of tracks that you're going to so that it doesn't benefit one driver that does particularly well on that track type. And I think having a road course in there, again, like I said, I think the Roval experiment had kind of run its course in that sense, but I think again, I will refrain full judgment until I see it, but doing Watkins Glen in May, I think is going to be very interesting to say the least in terms of how the weather goes for that one. I would much rather see it back. I mean, it's been a playoff date before, back in kind of a September time slot, I think would be perfect for Watkins Glen and give the Chase the road course that it's missing now with this Roval announcement. So again, not upset by the news. I'm just more upset by the timing of it, if that makes sense. Other things I'm looking to, I saw the truck entry list just got released this afternoon. Thrilled to see Tony Stewart back in the Collie Graham number 25 entry. We've got Jimmy Johnson doing a truck race this year. Dario Franchitti is going to be back in a truck at St. Pete. And I can't help but think back to Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon and thinking about their NASCAR careers. They've never made a single truck start. They've both been rumored to make truck starts in the past. I remember Junior was saying he would maybe, I think this was the time when Junior Motorsports was still around. I think Cole Custer was driving a truck at the time for that team in that program. And he was saying, maybe I'll hop in a truck at Pocono because it's a short race and he would get it over with very quickly. But he's been doing his Xfinity one-offs, of course, in recent years. He didn't do one last year. I think the first time since 1995 or 96 that he didn't race him at least once in one of NASCAR's top 3 divisions. There's still time, I think, for him to get in a truck, as well as Jeff Gordon. And bringing back to Tony Stewart, I remember a tweet that Tony sent out after Jeff announced his retirement, or that 2015 would be his retirement year, offering to put him up at Eldora in Norm Benning's old truck. Not sure how serious that specific offer was, but I know Jeff has obviously been a master of Martinsville over the years, and it was where he won his final Cup race. So while we're putting all these legends back in NASCAR Truck Series races, there's a couple more that maybe I'd like to see some announcements there as well. Just trying to stir up the rumor mill here a little bit, but that would be cool to see on top of everything else that we're going to get this year. So like I said, there's a lot to look forward to this season. And like I said, that makes me more excited for the new season than I've been in a long time. Good to see Addicted TS here in chat as well. If there's a road course you'd add in the Chase, what would it be? I'm not sure when you came in there, but I think I had mentioned Watkins Glen would be the most viable solution to that. If you ask me, I would put it back in the playoffs. It's been a playoff date before, and I don't have a ton of confidence that this May date is going to work. So, yeah, that would probably. I'm sure there are multiple different options. There's probably some options even that aren't currently on the schedule that you could maybe say could be Roval replacements. But as for the tracks that we have right now, I think Watkins Glen would probably be the one that makes the most logistical sense here. All right, so some other news and notes from the past week or so. Like I said, Super Bowl yesterday. Congratulations, Seattle. Want to say, my heart goes out to my fellow New Englanders up here. I'm obviously originally from Delaware, so I'm a big Eagles fan, but I've made a lot of friends up here that are Patriots fans over the years, and know they're disappointed, but cannot tell you how much. I don't know if he's watching right now or if he's going to be watching later, but I am such good friends with Luis Torres. And man, Seattle sports fans needed that. After seeing the Thunder, having to watch the Thunder, the old Supersonics, win the NBA Finals in Oklahoma City under a different name. I know they were not a fan of having to watch that, and then how the Mariners got knocked out of their playoffs, how the Sounders got knocked out of their playoffs, for Seattle to make it to the Super Bowl and then win it in pretty convincing fashion, if we're being honest. I know the Patriots had a little bit of momentum brewing there at the end, and then the turnovers came back to bite them. But not the greatest game, unfortunately. If you're a neutral fan, I suppose it seemed like Seattle was pretty much in control from start to finish. But I hope everybody had a good time watching that one. And again, I hope Seattle is celebrating and savoring it because, like I said, we certainly we've been very fortunate here in Philadelphia 2 times in the last decade that we've gotten to celebrate that. And I know a lot of Seattle fans probably remember that as well from Super Bowl 48. But of course, the heartbreak of Super Bowl 49. As somebody who's a fan of a team that avenged a Super Bowl loss last year, I imagine this one is probably the sweetest one yet for them. So congratulations to Seattle once again. I saw we had a game show viewer in here at the beginning, so I guess I'll touch on this subject a little bit here as well. Absolutely loved seeing Tom Bergeron back on Hollywood Squares a couple of weeks ago. The You Fool episode with Gopher Gottfried is one of my all-time favorite game show episodes, and again, just kind of got flooded with nostalgia seeing Tom appear in an episode recently. So that was a lot of fun. And I guess we can kind of use that to transition to some upcoming projects here. And then unless we get any further questions here in the chat, I see we've still got a few viewers. Thank you all still so much for tuning into this impromptu stream again tonight. We can wrap it up after that. But in terms of what is immediately coming on this channel here, and again, if you're in the Patreon, you saw my February update, you already saw this, but I had intended to try to get it turned around by Wednesday. That's definitely going to be a stretch at this point, because I've recorded the script, have not even taken the outtakes out yet, and I've got to add all the footage. So it's probably going to be later this week at this point, depending on how much progress I make tomorrow. But want to take one final look back at the NASCAR playoff era, the 5 years since I made my original video on the subject, and say one final good riddance to the system that we loved to hate for the last 12 years. There have been plenty more examples from 2021 to 2025, and I just kind of want to take one final look back at those and go through everything that I think was wrong with how those seasons wrapped up. And right, to be fair, because we did have some champions that I think not too many people were disputing, such as Kyle Larson in 2021, and maybe a couple of others in the lower series as well. But certainly on the minds of a lot of people after the Xfinity Cup races this year, I think those deserve to be looked at in one final video before we move into the new era. So that's the next NASCAR production that's coming up. Next game show video, I put game show in air quotes here, use that term very loosely, because it is finally, after all these years, I've gone ahead, I've done it, I've rewatched the available clips of the ill-fated reality effort Carney Wilson unstapled. Of course, Carney Wilson, the host of the Newlywed Game for the first 3 seasons of that revival, aired on GSN. I've been dreading having to go back and look at that because I know it was not very well received, and want to try to approach that show and that subject with as much sensitivity as possible. So, I know I've gotten some comments in the past saying, I want you to rip this show into shreds and tear at its existence here. Not going to do that, but I do think it is worth looking back at that effort and where the network was at that time and how it affected the future of a Newlywed Game as well. So, again, kind of tamper your expectations for that one, keep them a little bit lower. I'm mostly just doing this out of obligation because I've been saying I would do it eventually. Finally got around to writing a script and recording that one as well. So that will be coming in the coming weeks also on this channel. And then, like I said, still working on a couple of longer term projects. The thumbnail for tonight's show is another hint. I'm going to continue to throw these 2007 Busch Series references out there for you all. Some of you probably already know. Some of you I've probably already told in greater detail what I'm working on. But the thumbnail for tonight is another preview of that. So you can stay tuned for that project. And then getting the entry list here for the Truck Series race. This is a video that will probably be the third to next upload on the channel, or second to next. We'll see how quickly I can get my act together. I might try to get this one out before the Carney Wilson video, but I did see a couple of TBAs on there. Assuming there is not a late entry. I know Matt Crafton has said he is going to race part-time this year. But want to take one final look at his streak that will come to an end, again, barring any last-minute additions to the entry list this Friday. Take one final look back at that streak and who might be in line, if they stay in the Truck Series long enough, to be the closest to even getting close to surpassing it or breaking it. Again, I don't expect anybody to. I've talked about that streak plenty of times on this channel and wrote an op-ed for Brock last year about how remarkable it is in terms of its longevity. But again, assuming that Crafton does not get a late entry and that streak does come to an end, I feel like the timing is right to maybe take one final look at that as well. So those are your hints at some upcoming projects. Like I said, the new show with Brandon Crossman will premiere a week from tonight, assuming the Daytona 500 gets completed on schedule. And then we'll go from there and roll right into the 2026 season. Really looking forward to what we have in store for this year. One final note, I guess I almost forgot during the Super Bowl. Shout out to Cadillac, an incredible livery reveal. Hearing the JFK speech, we choose to go to the moon, and do these things not because they're easy, but because they are hard. I can't tell you how many times I've rewatched that this afternoon. It makes me feel like running through a brick wall with the hype that I've got for Cadillac this year. I don't expect them to take the fight to McLaren or Red Bull this season, but I'm very excited for what GM is trying to build with that project. And I think a few years down the road, we could be in for something special as American F1 fans. So great seeing that get revealed last night. And I think we're coming up here on not quite half an hour. It's probably a good place to wrap it up here. So, again, thank you for the few of you that were able to tune in live to this. Really appreciate it. I kind of figured that this one wouldn't get as much traction just because there's no like major breaking news tonight like there was during the chase live stream that we did. But wanted to hop on here quickly and just kind of outline some plans what I've got for the immediate future and let you all know where that stands heading into 2026, because I know we've been teasing some things here in the last few weeks, and it keeps getting pushed back a week. But again, assuming that everything goes according to plan in Daytona, and even if it doesn't, I would imagine Motorsport Monday will premiere on a Tuesday if the Daytona 500 doesn't wrap up next Monday or next Sunday, I should say, on time. If it gets pushed to Monday, then we'll go ahead and do the stream on Tuesday. We won't make you wait another week for that. But thank you all so much for tuning in and for bearing with me as I'm still trying to find my bearings here with the free version of StreamYard. And again, hope you all enjoy what we've got planned for this year, because I'm very excited about what we've got coming here to this channel in the coming months. So thanks again, and I will hopefully see you soon.